ASMR Magical Tools. Hello, Aquarius. Hello. Welcome back. So, to start off your reading this month, I am going to draw a card from the Flower Magic Oracle deck. I really love these cards. They have a very late 90s goth aesthetic that I like a lot. I like very much. This is going to be for Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising signs for the month of May 2021. May 2021. I can't believe how far we are into 2021. It feels like the year hasn't even started. But maybe that's just me. I think people are probably going to be going pretty crazy this summer since they've all been cooped up for a year. I was planning on going to the beach all last summer, and I ended up not doing that because I was afraid the beaches would be too crowded. Maybe this year. Okay. Aquarius. The card that I've drawn for you is Mallow, which is about death. Mallow, card of death. But death can also be transformation. Let's see what this says. Cut the ties and take apart. One ending is just another start. New beginnings await to sweep in. Death and rebirth are always set to begin. Let go of that which no longer belongs. Now come out fighting, refreshed and strong. This is all about endings and new beginnings, death and rebirth. There has to be the death of something to allow for rebirth and a fresh start. This card hails the end of something that has probably been waning for a while and needs to be given the boot. Time to run a life check and have a look at what works and what doesn't. What needs to be finished up in your life. Cut ties and things that don't work and shove that negative stuff out the door. It is time to have a clean sweep and to shake out the cobwebs. Once you have killed off all that doesn't work for you, you will need to fill your life with new stuff. Leaving a void is dangerous, as it can just refill with all the same old bad stuff. Make new plans and reassess where you want to be and what you want to achieve. Put new plans in motion. So I'm going to put this card right back here by the lion. And we'll move on to the Celtic Cross portion of the reading. So I'm going to be using the Ethereal Visions, Illuminated Tarot, and Matt Hughes, the illustrator who did this deck. For those of you who are interested, has a couple of new decks out this year. The Dreamscape Oracle deck is already out and I think available for purchase right now. And the Luna Tarot will be coming out later this year. excited because the 101, no, the PCH, Pacific Coast Highway, headed up to Big Sur. The road had washed out, as it does. I mean, the PCH is so close to the ocean, and that's one of the things that makes it so cool to drive on, is that it's right by the ocean, but parts of it are often getting washed away. But April 30th, that stretch going up to Big Sur is supposed to reopen. So I'm very excited about that. I'd like to drive up there. And of course, by then, hopefully, I'm not planning to leave exactly April 30th, but hopefully we'll be able to get vaccinated and then drive up the Pacific Coast Highway. I'm sure a lot of people will be doing that, so hopefully it won't be too crowded. Alright, Aquarius. Aquariuser and Aquariuser. Here's your current situation. Here's the past, present, future, your hopes. No, this is your goal or destiny. This is your perspective on the current situation. This is an outsider's perspective on that current situation. This is your hopes and fears, and this will be the conditions which cross the future. And then we have the final outcome. So let's look. I'm going to look first at the past, and see where everything began. And we have here the Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands in the past. Queen of Wands is a fire sign often associated with Leo, but could be Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. This could also be you coming into your own personality with confidence and being very easy to talk to. So, because Leo is your opposing sign or opposite sign, it's possible that you are also inhabiting those energies. Leo and Aquarius are not totally opposites, because fire energy, fire elemental energy, and air elemental energy are not opposites. Fire and water are opposites, which is why Leo is square to Scorpio. But fire and air are both active energies and full of motion. So actually, I find that Leo and Aquarius are much more similar than they are opposites. Alright, let's look at It's also possible that you have a Leo placement in your chart. Let's look at the current situation. So, we have here the Temperance card in the reverse. You could be doing things kind of in a sloppy way or without a lot of artifice. Now, this isn't necessarily bad. After all, a lot of people have done things in a way that some might consider sloppy, but it still turns out very enjoyable. Sloppy Joe's lo-fi recording can sometimes turn out very good, very gritty and authentic. It might have to do with it might be that you're loosening up. You might be loosening up more so than actually getting like full-on sloppy. Might not be full-on sloppy behavior, but whereas you might have been like really wrapped up in things and making them perfect. This might be a departure from that. Now, the Temperance card in reverse can also mean that you are indulging in intoxicating substances more than usual. Now, I certainly don't judge. Let's see what else is going on here. So, we have the Four of Pentacles coming out, crossing this card. And the Four of Pentacles is about conservation of resources. So it could be that you've saved up quite a bit and now you can kind of kick back and party. Kick back and party a little bit. The Temperance card is not necessarily it's not necessarily bad. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're like completely fallen off the wagon here. I'm getting much more of a sense of like the Temperance card can be very similar to the Two of Pentacles in a lot of ways. And here we have the Four of Pentacles, almost as though you're looking at the Two of Pentacles through double vision. That was something that came to me about this. And this does seem like it is a shift or a departure for you, coming back to the Mallow card that we pulled at the beginning. Let's look at the current situation in a little more detail. So this is your perspective on the current situation, and this is an outsider's perspective. Your perspective is the Ace of Pentacles. Ace of Pentacles, and it is showing up upright. So it could be that you have brand new job prospects coming through for you at this time, especially if you've been putting yourself out there more gregariously in the recent past with this Queen of Wands energy. The Queen of Wands really is a very charming person, very charming. And as you can see, she's holding this sunflower right here. Everybody will turn to you like sunflowers turn to the sun when you enter the room, and I think because you are having this effect on people at this time, you see that as a great opportunity to capitalize on your natural assets. Now we're looking at an outside person's perspective on your situation. Outside person's perspective. Outside perspectives. We have the Seven of Swords. And it's in the upright. It could be that somebody is trying to pull the wool over your eyes or trying to scam you. Those are both possible. So it is good that you have resources set aside for yourself. Let's see what the truth of the matter is. We have this Page of Wands energy coming out in the current state of affairs. So that is somewhat of a regression from the Queen of Wands energy. So, you think of like the Queen of Wands is the higher vibrational state, and then the Page of Wands, or sometimes they are calling it the Princess of Wands, right? That Princess of Wands energy is like a lower octave of the Queen of Wands energy. Page of Wands is earth of fire, so very motivated by the material world, very motivated by mundane things. And we can see that at this time, so there's a great deal of creativity there because it is the Page of Wands, and the Page of Wands is a very precocious energy. Page of Wands is also a fire energy, so this could be a younger person who is a fire sign, and who is attracted to you at this time. And I say attracted, but it could be for all kinds of reasons, not just romantic. But also, there seems to be like a naivete here regarding this money-making opportunity for you, Aquarius. There seems to be a little bit of naivete there. And of course, we'll find out much more about all of these situations when we use the Lenormand deck to do the 12 houses spread. Let's look at the future. And I'm going to start with the hopes and fears, because of course that is the situation in which the future will be occurring. That will be the prevailing environment. Now we do have the Knight of Swords coming out here, and this is really speaking to your sense of righteous indignation and your sense of what is right and wrong, Aquarius. So you're very aware of the moral implications and the ethical implications of all of these different situations. It's very interesting that we had that Seven of Swords come out as a perspective from the outside looking in. Now it is possible that someone else sees you as being the scammy party or the shady person in the situation, but really we have this Knight of Swords coming out here, and I feel like this is your prevailing energy, and he definitely came out upright. So even though he is like a crossing card, even though I'm going to be reading this as crossing energy for the future situation, the fact that this Knight of Swords came out upright, that's a very, like, they call this the social justice warrior energy, and I think that you are definitely using your moral compass at this time, and this could possibly help you with this particular situation. Let's see what the future holds. So we do have the Tower here upright, and one thing that's very interesting about this interpretation of the Tower card is if you look closely, you can see that figure is wearing a mask. That figure is wearing a mask, very much like you would think of someone hiding their identity because they are in power. And that fall from power has the potential to shatter that mask. We also have at the top of this card, there's a lot of very dynamic iconography on this card. We have this all-seeing eye depicted here at the top of the card, which is really interesting, and lots of swirling clouds. So whereas the Tower is not strictly an Aquarius card, there is definitely the energy there of being up in the clouds. And when we're looking at it in the context of this Knight of Swords energy of wanting to be right, wanting to be correct, and cutting things out that are not aligned with your moral compass. It's interesting that we're going to see quite a dynamic change there. Now, the Tower can be quite destructive in your life, but it can also mark a brand new beginning for you. So we'll have to keep going to find out more about what that means. So up here, we have the midheaven, and the midheaven is going to be the events that are a consequence of what goes on down here in the current events. And this position down here is called the imum because it is like on the complete opposite side of the astrological wheel from the midheaven up here. So that when we are reading the Lenormand cards, the 3rd and 4th houses are going to be down here by the imum, and it's going to tell us a lot more about what we're going to be seeing up here with your goal or destiny. So the card that we have in that position is the 3 of Wands in the reverse. The 3 of Wands is a card about waiting for your rewards, waiting for things to come in, like if you order something in the mail and you're waiting for it to arrive. So when it is reversed, that means you are still waiting, and when it is upright, that means that what you are waiting for will be coming soon. So, because it's in the reverse up here, in the goal or destiny position, I do think that what you are waiting for will eventually arrive. And if you look, the Page of Wands kind of has their gaze upward. Their gaze is pointing like upward, looking to this 3 of Wands expectantly, and looking at that 3 of Wands through the filter of the Temperance card reversed, and also this 4 of Pentacles. So that I am waiting for something to arrive, but I know that I have enough resources here, and I am having a good time in the present. And I can wait a little bit longer for this thing, whatever it is. Whatever this is, it could be related to this life change here with the Tower. So remember, we have this card about transitions. So there is definitely a transition coming in the near future for you, Aquarius. Let's look at this final outcome card. Let's look at the final outcome. And we have the 6 of Pentacles in the reverse. This could involve you receiving charity from somebody. Now, it is in the future situation, and it is reversed. So that could mean that at some point you will be giving charity to someone, but it's in the distant future. But the reason that I'm looking at it the way that I am is because of how we had this Ace of Pentacles come out. And as I mentioned when I was reading these cards down here, it felt like a very naive energy. It felt, and because we have this person here who is trying to defraud you, there's a lot of caution here. You need to be very careful, because just because somebody is in the right doesn't necessarily mean that they will be victorious. Unfortunately, here in the United States in particular, and I know that a lot of other countries countries are like this too. It's very difficult to obtain justice if you do not have a lot of capital to put into your legal battle, because those can stretch out for years and years, and the people who get the most money out of that situation are the lawyers that you hire to defend your case. So it doesn't really matter in some situations what the letter of the law is, because this person could very easily make off with a lot of your resources, and there might not be very much that you can do about it, unfortunately. But because all of this is coming out as present day situations, I think there's still a possibility that you could turn this around. And that's another thing that we're seeing here, is that these cards are reversed here in the future. This card of the Tower, there's definitely going to be some kind of change, but it doesn't have to have catastrophic consequences. I think there are things that you could do to avert disaster at this point, and that's one of the great things to use tarot for, is to avert crises in your life by being aware and being forewarned. So now I'm going to move into the Lenormand cards, and these are the cards that I designed. There's a link down in the description to my Etsy shop if you like them. They are for sale in my Etsy store. Oh, what a mess. Alright, so I'm not going to pull these as jumpers, but we have the snake and the whip coming out right off the bat. The snake is a treacherous person, and the whip is somebody being very harsh with you. So it looks like there could be a situation where there is harsh punishment being doled out, and it's not justified that you're being punished in this way, Aquarius. I'm very sorry to hear about that. But I hope that with this warning, you are able to escape from that situation. So the first house has to do with self, and it also has to do with beginnings. And it's going to go back here by the past, the card that we have in the past, which is the Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands. I was thinking about, the Queen of Clubs also, and then I started thinking about the Queen of Club drugs. So I know that not all of you out there are inclined toward drug use, and I certainly don't judge anyone who is, but I'm definitely getting a vibe that that could be a factor in this situation for some of you. Just be very careful. A lot of people who are involved in drugs are not looking out for the best interest of everyone involved. Alright, so the first house, the house of self and beginnings. We do have the self coming out here, and with this Queen of Wands card, I see that these current situations came to play because you were feeling very confident in yourself, and I think at that point in the past it was justifiably so, but it looks like moving forward, things might have escaped your estimation a bit, just a bit. But let's keep going. So the second house has to do with your finances, and also has to do with your stability. And remember, we have this Ace of Pentacles here, which could be an indicator of what you perceive to be a new job offer coming in, or a new offer of income. This could be an investment scheme, or some kind of multi-level marketing kinds of things that this could represent. That you think it's one thing, but it's actually something else. But in your second house here, we have the lily. Now the lily has to do with fragility. So this is things like elderly relatives, elderly people in your life, but can also have to do with things like innocence and purity. But the predominant theme of the lily card is fragility. So it does seem like there is a lot of fragility in your finances and in your ability for stability at this time. So the third house is having to do with communication. It can have to do with close family members like siblings, and it can have to do with your neighborhood, the surroundings where you live. It's also related to short distance travel, and is down here in the MMCLI, so will be telling us a little bit more about this Page of Wands. And we have the crossroads coming out, so there could be a choice that you have to make, and that could be regarding short distance travel or communication. Somebody could be presenting this to you through email possibly, or you could be communicating with this person but not seeing them face to face also. But that they're offering you this choice between two things. Now remember too that sometimes it's a false dichotomy, that a lot of these scams rely on you seeing things as a dichotomy, but that it's actually not a dichotomy. There are actually, infinite possibilities in most situations. Gosh, I really hope this ends up helping out somebody out there, and that you end up not falling for something. Because there could definitely be, even if this is like, this could even be somebody like a landlord who is offering you money to move out of a place, but then you don't have a place to go. It could be any number of things like that. But I think that this person is definitely trying to obfuscate what your options are in a situation. The fourth house has to do with your home and family life. And it will give us the complete triad that we're looking for with the MMCLI down here. And I get the mouse. Now the mouse is about erosion. So the mouse nibbles away at your resources, and I do see that you have quite a reserve. You should have more than enough saved at this time. But with the Temperance card coming out, that can be another thing that can be an earmark of the Temperance card in reverse, is not having good balance with your finances and possibly overspending on certain things and not keeping track of your accounting. So altogether we have this pie in the sky, Page of Wands. There's a lot of creative energy there, but also a lot of naivete. We have this choice that you can make in communication or in short distance travel or possibly with siblings. And then we also have the mouse eating away at your home and family life. So those are all the factors that are going to go into what we see up here in the midheaven, where we have this Three of Wands in the reverse, that you're waiting for something to come in, waiting for something. 5th house has to do with creativity, romance, and childhood. So it could be your childhood, you as someone else's child, or it could be children who are a part of your life. That's also a possibility. And the card that we have for that is the Star. So, even though we have this person would not want to take things from you if you didn't have something to offer. So, it could be that you're doing very well creatively and this person steals your intellectual property. That's another possibility. The Star in the tarot is Aquarius's card, and there are quite a few analogies between the Star in Lenormand and the Star in tarot. So to me, and especially because we've been talking about these oppositions here, remember we have the Queen of Wands coming out to represent you in the past, which is Leo. One of Leo's cards in the tarot deck can be representative of Leo. So this house, the 5th house, is ruled by Leo. Now if you're an Aquarius rising, then it would be Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, Taurus, Gemini. So then Gemini would be your 5th house. And Gemini is a fellow air sign, and also to deal with communication and siblings and a lot of these 3rd house traits. Now we have a sextile here between those two placements of the crossroads and the Star. So this communication could also be a choice having to do with like you can come on tour with us, or you can continue to struggle. It's either you go with us this time or I never work with you again. Something like that. You either sign this contract or the deal is off. Now, the 6th house is your daily routines and your health. Daily routines and health. We also have a trine here between the Self and the Star. I think the Star is also reminding you that you're being more true to yourself now than you ever have before. So don't betray yourself now. Don't let yourself be betrayed. And this 6th house, what do we get there? We have the Tower. So, the Tower can be an institution like the government or a corporation. You might be working for a corporation, or you might be working for a college or something like that, or for the government. The Tower can also be about control, so you could have a very tight control over your daily routines and your health. That's another possibility. The Tower in this context does not mean the same thing as the Tower in the tarot, but do remember that that we have both of them here right next to each other. Aquarius, the 7th house, has to do with your relationships with other people. So we're looking at the house of self here is the 1st house, and that's in direct opposition to the 7th house over here. And so the 7th house can have to do with court cases, can have to do with relationships, business partnerships. enemies. And the card that we have coming out for that is the ship. So the ship has to do with travel and has to do with commerce as well. So here where we have this Three of Wands in the Destiny position, there could be something having to do with interstate commerce that comes up. There could be a court case about interstate commerce. Or, on a completely different note, you could be planning a trip with your partner, whether that is a romantic partner or a business partner. The 8th house is in opposition to the 2nd house, which has to do with your finances and stability. So in the 8th house, we're looking at other people's resources, and we are looking at transitions. And we know that there's going to be a transition because we have the Tower coming out. We have the Mallow card coming out, talking about death. Let's see what's going on in the 8th house. This will tell us about other people's resources too, possibly. We have the Coffin. So there's definitely something going on that is going to be very momentous. The Coffin in the 8th house doesn't necessarily mean death, like a physical death, but there is definitely going to be a big change, and that is right over here by the Tower. The 9th house, now we're getting up into the territory of the midheaven. So that has to do with the things you do to elevate yourself. And those things can include long distance travel, can include higher education, and can also have to do with your spirituality. Spirituality. And in the 9th house position, we have the snake. And the snake is coming out upright. Now it's very interesting that Capricorn actually just got the snake in the same position in their reading, but I feel like it was, there was a much different context to it. The snake is about treachery and betrayal. So whoever this person is that is represented by this 7 of Swords situation here, this person who's trying to scam you, it could be because they are appealing to your higher self. They're appealing to your desire to improve yourself and become the best version of yourself. So it could be related to some kind of religious organization. It could be related to an offer of a pilgrimage type trip. It could be related also to some kind of educational experience, some kind of learning experience. So that might be the sector in which this deception is taking place. Now the 10th house is to do with your career and the way that you make a living. And again, these things are all in opposition to what we have down here in the Imam Sili, the origins of this situation up here. And when I pull this card, we'll be able to look at all of that together in context. And for the 10th house, you have the heart. So I think what will end up happening is that as far as your career is concerned, you're going to end up doing what you love. And I think that will eventually be coming in for you, but there's going to be treachery that you have to sidestep along the way. And that might always be the case, because that might be the nature of that particular business. I know the music industry in particular is particularly rife with scammy behavior, and it's not necessarily illegal. There's a lot of like pay to play where you have to sell a certain number of tickets to be part of a showcase with a bunch of bands that you don't sound anything alike. And then, you know, they often try to tout it as a battle of the bands. Well, anyway, that's just one example. I don't need to go on and on about that. There's just a ton of stuff like that out there. And anything that's asking for you to give them money up front, or for you to sign over your publishing rights or anything like that, you're going to end up being devoid of your own intellectual property. And even major labels can use tactics that are not great and defraud you of your own material. So just be very wary. Very wary, very wary. Aquarius, we are getting over into your 11th house now. And the 11th house has to do with social groups. It has to do with, it can be social media also. It has to do with novel ideas and iconoclasts. And we have house coming out here. And the house has to do with your home life. So remember, we have the mouse down here in the 4th house, which represents your home and family life. And then in the opposing house to the 11th house, which is the 5th house, we have your card of the star, which also represents a lot of your hopes and dreams coming true. So to me, what this might suggest is that you have come to trust this person because you share a lot of the same non-typical, non-status quo ideas, and that you might have met them through social media, through a group of friends. It could be that you even went to their house. And the house is also coming out here with the 6 of Pentacles in reverse. And so I'm not reading this like totally strictly as the placement itself. I also kind of read it in the context of everything else that's here. So because it's coming out with the 6 of Pentacles in the reverse, you could be going on social media to try to secure a different living arrangement. Because of everything that is going to happen. It doesn't have to, though. These things don't have to happen. But the house is definitely a card about all of these things that are your home life, your home life and your family life, and where you live, and having a roof over your head. All of those things are tied up in that. I also noticed that it's square to the second house of your finances and stability. So the 12th house has to do with endings, and it also has to do with your psychic abilities and intuition. And it's bringing us full circle right back around to where we have the Queen of Wands and the first house, where we got the card of self in the house of self. And for the 12th house, we have the book. So this could leave you a lot smarter than how you went into this situation. The book is about knowledge. It's also about secrets. So you could end up educating yourself a lot about possibly the law, because we have the Tower over here in the 6th house in opposition. Square to that, we have the Snake, and we also have the Crossroads down here. In the trines, we have the Coffin and the Mouse. So, all of these things might be coming together, and you might end up educating yourself a lot about these situations, and that might actually put you in a position where you can help out others in the future. Alright, Aquarius, well, I hope that you have a great month ahead in May. And I apologize for my neighbor slamming the door. He's really been on one lately. And I hope everything works out well for you. And I hope this has been a good warning, and that you'll be able to avert this situation from causing havoc in your life. If you want to tell me more about it in the comments, you can, but that's up to you. I also have a link down in the description box where you can submit questions for future Q&A videos. I hope that you have a excellent evening, a wonderful week, a magnificent month, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon.